Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And back again. He's entered, well, it really has entered the danger zone. We have to give him credit. It's the Brooklyn Hit Squad coming back at you one more time with Online Big Blue. How are we doing today, Mr. Hit Squad?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready to step into the fire. Or
you ready to step into the
smoke,
fire?
I guess.
We're not gonna we're gonna keep it light today. We're not gonna get accused of things today. We're gonna keep the subjects very light and very airy. And I want to talk.
So you're going easy on me?
I think I'm going easy on me today. I don't want to keep getting the emails. I'm tired of reading them about how cocky I am and how arrogant. You know what? Yeah, I am, but that's okay. But first topic, though, I want to jump right into Giant topics because I haven't seen you in a while. We haven't talked in a while, and there's not been a lot going on, but been some interesting things. Evan Engram, Pro Football Focus just came out, I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, and said Evan Engram is one of the top tight ends in the National Football League. What are you thinking about that? What are you thinking about that statement?
I agree 100%. However, I think it's when healthy. I think we got a glimpse of Evan Engram and what kind of a tight end he could be in his rookie season. I mean, the argument could be made that, with the receivers that went down and him getting most of the attention, that's why really he got as many yards as he did, as many opportunities as he did. But we saw that when he's put in that position and he needs to be that main go-to guy for the quarterback, he can do it. I think he's a very athletic and fast tight end. He's not your traditional tight end, but I've also been saying for years that I truly do think that the Giants did misuse Evan Engram. And I think that with us misusing him, that's caused some of his injuries that he's had throughout the years. I think that he is going to have a really good year this year. I believe, if I'm being 100% honest, I think he's going to have something similar to his rookie season. I have him personally at about 650 yards this year. I think he can do that. I would say 8. I would genuinely say 8. Only because this is going to be a contract year for him. I know that they used the 5th-year option on him, but he's going to want his money next year, and I think that he's going to be wanting to play with something, playing with something to prove. I saw videos of him recently working out without the boot. It's nice to see that he's, not hurting himself and not in a boot. But I think I got to agree with him, man. What are you thinking?
I think that Evan Engram, we picked up his 5th-year option. I'm going to say he's going to have 500 yards, maybe 10 touchdowns, 3 X-rays, and 4 MRIs. I don't see him making it through the season. I don't agree that he was misused. I just think that his body type for that position and maybe his physical makeup is what's causing the injuries. And there are some players like that are just injury prone. I mean, there's been tons of them throughout the history of the league, and I don't see him. I just don't see that his body type and his size, the way he plays the tight end position. One of the things I will give Evan Engram a lot of credit on, his blocking. His blocking has greatly improved to a point that I think it was the Chicago game last year. He played extremely well and was we lost that game, but he played extremely well and was extremely physical. But the problem is, like I said, if you can't stay on the field, yes, he had the highlight in Tampa when he had that 70-something yard run from pass from Daniel Jones, but those are too far in between than him staying out of the training room. And I think that's his biggest issue and is going to be his biggest obstacle right now is I've said it on 100 different videos. What you need to do with Evan Engram is as soon as he's done with the game, put him in bubble wrap and put him in 2 walking boots and just kind of get one of those little pull carts and just wheel him back to the hotel and keep him there till the next week. Because you never know You never know what's going to happen to this dude from one moment to the next. But like I said, if he can stay on the field, I think maybe 12 games he'll be on the field. And I think his rookie season he was on for 13. So I mean, I don't know. It to me, I just don't see. I see the talent, and it's one of those things that you see the talent, and it's almost like a tease because you know that talent's there, but then he's always hurt. And how many players have we seen that in the league where they're all world talent, but they can't just stay on the field?
Yeah, when I think of, especially tight ends like that, for me, different injury, but I kind of think of Jordan Reed, where Jordan Reed was a athletic tight end,
Oh yeah,
got some speed on him. Honestly, I thought for a while, next to Pierre Garcon, I thought that was Washington's best threat. His issue was concussions. He
and
couldn't stay on
concussions,
the
you never
field.
know. You never know when you or if you're going to recover from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I agree with you. In terms of Evan Ingram, I don't see him playing the full year. But I guess I'm just more confident that Jason Garrett will put him in opportunities for him to, whether it's extend plays or put him in the position to succeed. Um, I just when I look at how Pat Shermer used him, like his blocking did improve. I think from year 2 to year 3, it improved quite a bit. I think it was definitely noticeable, and he's going to get better at that. But just seeing how Pat Shermer used him, I just don't think that it was the correct way to use that kind of a tight end that we have. Maybe if we didn't draft Evan Ingram, let's say everything switched, and let's say we went the OJ Howard route, I definitely think that, we would have done really well with OJ Howard. But just how Evan Ingram is and the kind of tight end that he is, I just don't think that the Giants have been using him to his ability. Obviously, he needs to stay healthy, but
I was going to say
yeah,
you can use someone to their ability, but if they're not on the field, the ability doesn't mean much.
absolutely, yeah, I agree.
But speaking of Jason Garrett, I did a video recently, and it was titled basically "Why Jason Garrett is going to be one and done with the New York Giants." I am predicting, and most people don't like when I predict things because most of the times when I predict it, it seems to come true. I think that Jason is going to use this 1 year as a Giants OC as a springboard to find another head coaching job either in the pros or in college. I wanted to get your thoughts on what I'm saying that Jason Garrett's going to be one and done with the Giants.
I actually have to agree with you. And I was talking to one of my subscribers about this a couple weeks ago. Um, I think my biggest concern, which it's kind of a double-edged sword, if the Giants go out and have, let's say, a 10-6 year, which is a big improvement than what we've been since 2016.
Oh, yeah,
If the
10.
Giants go out, yeah, 10-6 is big compared to what we've been just take the last 2 years. But if we go out there and have a good season, I do think that this offense is going to be a top 15, possibly a top 10 offense if all goes well. That gives other teams the ability to look at Jason Garrett and give him that opportunity to become a head coach again. I don't think he's going to stay the offensive coordinator route. Um, I do think that I don't know about a year. I want to give it 2 years to be very fair.
Well,
I
I want to
personally
give
think,
it 2 years as well, but you got to remember there are so many NFL head coaching retreads
yeah,
that got jobs, Pat Shermer, who did not deserve a second chance. Jason Garrett, when first year as an offense coordinator in Dallas, he had the second ranked league in the entire NFL. 2 years later, a year later, he got promoted to the head coaching position. He had 3 8-8 seasons in a row, and I believe he lost the last game of the season 3 years in a row that pushed him into the play would have pushed him into the playoffs. Then he had some good
yeah,
seasons. He had a really down season. He had another good season, but he still won 80 something games to like 50 something losses. And honestly, except for last year, he got a lot out of his talent in Dallas. And when you have an owner like Jerry Jones, you're never really running the show.
No, absolutely.
So the question is, how much of the failures in Dallas were Jason Garrett, or were they Jerry Jones?
I think it's 50-50. I think some of it you got to put on Jason Garrett, with getting players ready. Um, and, I think the other half kind of goes to Jerry Jones. Being a coach in Dallas, that it's going to be Jerry's show. I didn't see it, but, hearing stories of back in the day, even with Jimmy Johnson,
I think Jimmy
you know,
Johnson couldn't even. Jimmy Johnson won him 3 Super Bowls, and they
and he
couldn't
got he
get
got
along.
fired,
And
and he fired him.
Jerry Jones wanted to take all the credit, and then they dump him for Switzer. Switzer still
Hmm.
wins the Super Bowl, and Switzer's his old buddy from Arkansas, and even he wants to leave Dallas.
Yeah, and it's just like I do think that Jason Garrett was. I'm not going to call him the perfect coach for Jerry Jones in terms of, Jason Garrett doesn't seem like he likes to be the face in the media. That's Jerry Jones's show. Jerry Jones, you know, uh, I remember Shannon Sharp saying this. It sounds like, at the end of every game, it's just Jerry Jones has these reporters come in like they're his like therapy session. He's the one talking to the media,
Yep.
where it's like he's not even coaching these players. He's not the ones drawing up these schemes. He's not the ones getting them ready for practice. But it's his team.
Yep.
It's Jerry's world, and in his eyes, he likes being the spotlight. So I think that kind of a coach works for Jerry Jones, but I don't think it was all Jason Garrett's fault for Dallas's failures throughout the years. Um, he definitely has to take some blame though. Like I would say 50-50 to be honest.
50-50, I could take that. All right,
I'd take it.
Vegas. Las
Ooh, where
Vegas
we going?
came out. We did a video on this a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of older news, but I'm kind of curious. Initially, a couple months back, Vegas had predicted the Giants were going to be at 4 wins. They have now upped that total to 6. And
Okay.
if you know anything about betting, that is a big jump in a very short period of time.
Yes, it
And
is.
Vegas, of course, is the money guys. They make their living predicting this stuff. So my
Mm.
question to you is, why do you think Vegas is all of a sudden kind of saying, well, the Giants may not be as bad as we think?
Um, I think it could be a lot of different things. For instance, I don't think Philly's going to be as good as a lot of people think that they're
No,
going
I
to
think
be.
Philly's gonna have a
Uh,
drop.
yeah, I actually think that they're going to be the third team in the division. I think fourth would definitely be Washington, but I don't. And I think you and I could kind of agree. I don't think the team is as bad as a lot of people or the media makes them to be. I really don't. There's been bad coaching. Obviously we haven't been a good team, but I think that we have the talent at the moment to at least win 6 games.
Right.
At least win 6 games. Um, and obviously we're gonna have to see how everything plays out if we even have a season. But I think Vegas is just
You
looking at
gotta
the
stop
division.
saying that. If we have a season, you gotta stop saying
Oh,
confidence
when
when
we
we
have
have
a
a season.
season, when we have a season,
Because we don't have a
um,
season, I got nothing to talk about. You're gonna have to sit
that's
there.
yeah,
People are gonna have to
absolutely.
just watch videos and be doing this. That's what they're gonna have to watch.
No, I agree. I mean, also, I think Dallas is going to be under the spotlight a lot. This
Oh
year,
yeah,
they got a new coach. This is going to be Mike McCarthy's first year coaching in 2 years. Well, technically, he was off for a year,
yeah.
but it's been 2 years since he's coached. Dak is going to be playing for a new contract. They're hoping that Zeke has a bounce back season. They lost some key pieces on that defense. I don't think Dallas is going to be as good as a lot of people think they are. I know some people have them going to the NFC Championship. That's crazy. I have them being 7-9, if not 8-8 at best. I know they have the weapons out there. I still think though that that team runs through Ezekiel Elliott. So when you look at the schedules, you look at the pressure that the Eagles and the Cowboys are going to be under, and there's not really, in my opinion, too much pressure on the Giants because this is a rebuild. the first year technically of the Joe Judge rebuild. And
Well,
I want to say
we've been
not.
rebuilding now since I think
No,
Ali.
we have been.
No, I mean,
No,
seems like
no,
it's been
we've
that
been
long.
rebuilding. No, we have been rebuilding, but I think this would be obviously Joe Judge's first year. There's not too many expectations. Nobody's expecting us to go to the playoffs. Nobody's expecting us to do much. I think we can do a lot though. So I could see, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that number went to 6.5 or even 7 by come August, September.
You know what I find funny? Because I was watching people do. I guess there's some type of program out there where you can predict schedules, and you can see
Okay.
what each team is going to be in their division, what their divisional records are, and everything. And I love
Yeah.
it because some people don't use the program, and you look at their standings. And I'm not pointing out anyone, but I just think it's funny. You'll see some people be like, well, the Cowboys are going to be 12-4, the Giants are going to be 11-5, the Eagles are going to be 7-9, and it's going to be 6-10 for Washington. And I sit there and I think to myself, that's not possible. If you
No.
figure out if you figure out the amount of games you have against division rivals,
Yeah.
the math doesn't add up. So what? So
No.
PSA right here, go use that program, people. So this way you don't sit there and look like, hey, excuse me, none of this makes any sense, because there was a really good again, I'm not picking on anybody, but there was a really good video that was out that the guy did a nice breakdown, but then you looked at his division numbers and you're like, the math doesn't
The
add up.
math is wrong. Yeah, no. There's some people that do that though. I mean, I think you should definitely double check your math. That's very important in life, kids. You want to make sure that your math is correct.
Well,
If you're
when I said the Giants are going to go 9-7, I gave everyone else's rundown. And the reason I was bringing it up, I actually had to sit there with a piece of paper and go, oh, wait a minute, let me check, because, I got 2 games against Dallas, 2 games against Washington, 2 games against the Eagles. So that's 6 games. So everyone's 6 game within the division. I'm like, and I've looked at it. I was at one point like, well, this wouldn't work. There's not enough games in the season. I'm going to have to go to an 18-week schedule and add on 2 more NFC East games to make this math come.
My God. Yeah, no, just kids, if you're watching this, please take math seriously. Math is very important.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs unless it's like
yeah.
Unless it's something good. Unless it's like Panama Red or something like that. Wowie wowie. But no, I didn't say any of that. But stay in school. So or you'll end up like me and have to do a YouTube channel, and you don't want to do that. So that's my PSA of the day. Topic number, I don't even know what topic number this is.
3. I can't count, but maybe.
We have. See, I didn't stay in school. If I would have stayed in school, I wouldn't know what the fucking topic was. I'm not gonna get into the guy's name, but
okay.
we had an incident where an NFL player, a place kicker, was allegedly driving drunk, hit a car doing 100 miles an hour, jumped out of the car, ran away, picked up by the cops. And then we have another player who we're not going to say who the person is, that's accused of armed robbery. Changed the story now 3 times, and we still haven't heard anything about the case. And I find it funny that one person, his counterpart who was accused of the same robbery, if you Google him, nothing comes up for him. He's not saying anything. It's almost like he's letting DeAndre Baker's attorney say everything. Because I find it interesting, because even Pete Carroll came out and said, we're not going to say anything till it goes to trial, which I find interesting. But we have now 2 players that have legal issues. The Giants have not come out and said anything or done anything with these 2 players. My question to you is, what precedent is this setting with the rest of the team that we have 2 problem children at the moment, and the parent is not disciplining or even coming out and saying anything? And I understand that they're waiting for the court and waiting to go through the system, but both these are pretty serious accusations. And a lot of times when these happen, players just get cut. And I've said they should cut both of them. But my question is to you: we got rid of Snacks, we got rid of OBJ, we got rid of Janoris Jenkins, we got rid of people with talent for saying that we are building a culture. But then you have these two incidents and nothing. I mean, what kind of precedent is that setting for the rest of the organization?
I mean, when you look around the league, there's a lot of different players that are getting. It seems like a lot of different players are getting into trouble. I know Cody Latimer, former Giant, had gotten into some issues, and he's on the, I believe, Washington Redskins right now. So in terms of DeAndre, if proven innocent, I would keep him on the team. That's what I would do. Aldrich Rosas, that's a little different. DUIs are no joke. Whether you have the best lawyers or not,
is a joke either.
It's not. It's just, with the armed robbery, we don't really know what happened at this point because there's been so many stories that have been coming out. But with Aldrich Rosas, we know what happened because the police found him.
Well, they did not find him in the vehicle, though.
No.
They found him running down the street with those shoes on covered in blood away from his vehicle. So they don't.
Yeah,
they never found him in the vehicle.
Yeah, he had a suspended license too.
And they had a DUI before that, evidently, too, that we didn't even know about.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
That's news to me. But to answer your question with President, I think if they don't at least cut Aldrich, I don't think it looks good. I think it, looks really bad on whatever culture Dave Gettleman and Joe Dredge are preaching that they're trying to build.
Now, see, I don't blame Joe Judge for it.
No.
Because of the fact
I agree.
That he just came in, and neither of these players are his guys. They're not Judge guys. So I mean, but to me, as like I said, Gettleman's been here the longest, and Gettleman is the one that's saying culture, good guys, all good locker room presence, all this, all this crap. And then this happens, and to me, it's not the fact that they haven't taken action. It's more the fact that a lot of times when, even with the Corey Latimer incident, I don't think they've done anything yet, but they've come out with a statement saying we don't condone this, blah, 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 but we're going to wait till the whole process plays out. You haven't seen a statement from the Giants on anybody.
Yeah, no, you haven't seen it at all. I could understand why in terms of DeAndre Baker, they haven't said anything, but for Aldrich, I mean, I'm sure maybe they just waited, like you said, to see how it goes through in court. But I think we could expect that Aldrich would get cut. And I think if he gets cut, I wouldn't be surprised if the team looks at an option like Steven Gostkowski.
Everyone brings him up, but I always say the same thing. Belichick doesn't cut somebody unless Belichick knows something.
Well, I mean, I think the age also plays into it because he's getting older. I believe
to the late 40s.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah.
But I think he had an injury last year. If I'm not wrong, I think he had an injury.
Yes, he did.
But like you said, they can play for longer than a lot of players at different positions through the league. That's just one option. But I think we could expect them to cut Aldrich Rosas and keep, if you're asking me, I think they'll keep DeAndre Baker. But it wouldn't look good at all if both were, or even one was proven guilty, and that person that was proven guilty stood on the team.
Baker scenario. Mm-hmm. He pleads guilty to a lesser charge, maybe a misdemeanor.
Okay.
And at that point, and a lot of times when you do these plea deals, a lot of times you're not admitting guilt. You're just taking the plea. There's no allocution of guilt. So let's say he pleads down to a lesser charge, misdemeanors. We'll say a couple of misdemeanors. What do you do at that point in time?
I would suspend him.
Well, he's going to get suspended by the league either way. I mean, the league suspension is going to be coming. He's going to at least get 3 to 6 games from the league.
So if you figure he gets 3 from the league, I would give him 2 for the team. So a total of 5 games. At that point, you can see what you got in Sam Beal or even Corey Ballantine.
I
Put
think
him
we
on
got
the
so
outside.
much backup behind him. Like I said, Beal, Ballantyne.
Mhm.
Everyone forgets Grant Haley. Grant
Yeah,
Haley, Grant Haley did not have a phenomenal season, but he played well in spots. And everyone's got to remember, Julian Love is probably going to slide back. He's probably going to back up safety, but I see him sliding back into his corner slot position that he played at Notre Dame. I mean, so
yeah, I can see that.
we have so much. I'm not worried about the depth anymore. If Baker misses games, because I don't think Baker was even assured a starting spot if this alleged robbery didn't happen. I think he was going to go into camp competing against Beal and Ballantyne and Haley, and possibly Love as well. And then we got Holmes too. Keep forgetting. I'm not a big fan of Holmes, but we picked up Holmes in the draft as well.
Yeah, I think he'll be better suited in the slot. I mean, when I heard that we had drafted him, and seeing that he was one of the best slot corners, if not the best slot corner in that draft, I want to see more of it. I don't want to just see everything pre-draft of what's going on. Like, I want to see him play that position for a season and
Right.
see how it is. Because I believe in college he played on the outside.
Yeah, he did.
He played all on the outside, and I know if Julian Love did go back into the slot, I don't think he would be the starting slot corner. I know that there were certain instances last year. I believe, I don't know if it was the preseason. I think it was the preseason. They put him in the slot, and he did get torched. He's not the fastest.
No,
Slot.
he did. He actually, we went to all the preseason games. He wasn't horrid during the preseason.
No,
He
he wasn't horrid. No.
his problem was James Betcher never trusted him. He played sparingly week one, and then he disappeared, and then he really didn't come back again until injuries occurred. And so I find it interesting that Love is the guy from Notre Dame. He has that pedigree, and they put more trust in DeAndre Baker because he was a higher round draft choice than they did Julian Love. And honestly, at the end of the day, Julian Love played, he balled, in certain he got burned in certain positions, but he played for a guy that never really played the position. He played well. So
Yeah, look at the Chicago game.
Yeah, I just find that interesting. But the second to last topic, Joe Judge. Here comes the judge. I did a video, and I always like this because I like get feedback. Here comes the judge. Well, let's hope DeAndre doesn't hear that. Let's hope DeAndre just gets out of this problem and gets in the training camp. That's all I want him to do. But
likewise,
Bill Belichick. Never really thought about this, but Belichick. We did a video that the Belichick coaching tree has got a lot of rotten fruit on it. I believe out of all of his disciples, I think they only have three playoff wins. And Mike Vrabel, who has 2 of those wins now, wasn't even a coach with Belichick. He was just a player. He never coached under Bill. So, you got people like, Eric Mangini, Josh Allen, Romeo Crennel, you got what's his name? The guy over in, I can't remember, I just can't draw, Bill O'Brien. You got all these other guys. So he's really not produced any winners. Look, if you compare it to Parcells, who, on his staff at points in time had Sean Payton, Tom Coughlin, and Bill Belichick. You got at least 10 rings there. Belichick can barely get playoff wins, his coaches, disciples. So my question to you is, Belichick, is the Joe Judge fruit finally going to one that's going to bear fruition for the Giants? Is he the first? Is he going to be a successful, Giant coach, or are we going to look at an Eric Mangini, Josh McDaniel, Romeo Crennel, Bill O'Brien? The list goes on.
I think he's going to have more success than a lot of the coaches that come out of the Belichick coaching tree. I think one of the biggest issues with the coaches that come from that tree, you look at Matt Patricia. You could throw him in there.
I wanted Matt Patricia.
No,
he turned us down.
I think it kind of worked out. I would say, I heard, throughout the year last year that there was players that weren't getting along with Matt Patricia.
Listen,
And
Matt Patricia's 3-12-1 last year after going like
yeah,
6-10 the year before. And
yeah,
I always
it's not
laugh because
good.
3-12-1 was Parcells' first year at the with the Giants in '83. That was his record.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did. Um, I think the problem with a lot of the coaches that come from that tree is that they try very hard to implement that same system and that same, I guess, what's the word that I want to use? I pretty much they try to do the same thing that they learned through Belichick in New England, and it doesn't work out.
Well,
You
here's the first problem then. Mr. Judge came out the other day and said they are going to have a players' council, which is something that they did in New England.
Yes. Though I guess I'm just looking at it as Bill O'Brien's not a bad coach, but he's a horrible GM.
He's always on the hot seat. That guy
Yeah,
always seems like and Deshaun. If he didn't have Deshaun Watson, he would already be fired.
I agree with you 100%. I don't know. You look at the coaches that have come from that tree and they try very hard to implement the same, pretty much like a Belichick 2.0 system, everything. Matt Patricia's trying to do that in Detroit, and the players aren't buying it. It's very hard for players to buy into what these coaches are trying to sell them. I think it's a little easier, or a lot easier, for Belichick and McDaniels to get that message across because they had Tom Brady.
Right.
If you can talk to Tom Brady a certain way, that you talk it to every other player, you're not going to have players that are going to disagree with what you have to say or go against what you have to say, because if the greatest of all time is listening to what this coach is saying and he's doing it, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing it.
True.
So I think that Joe Judge will have more success, though we have failed coaches around him. Let's be honest. They are failed coaches around him.
Head coaches around him.
Yes.
Mainly in college, though. Only really
yeah.
Garrett is the
Garrett's really the only one that's been consistent.
Speaking of coaches, I do want to get your opinion on something. Yeah. Okay, we hired the guy, the linebacker coach from Penn State. I'm remiss because I cannot remember his name, and he's like known as Dr. Chaos or something like
Coach Chaos. Yeah,
Coach Chaos. And a lot of people were saying to me, "Oh, well, that's great because Penn State is linebacker U." And I tell people, well, you remember Penn State hadn't had a linebacker drafted since 2013, until we picked up the guy in the 7th round. So I'm not seeing how we got all excited about a guy that's supposed to be a great linebacker coach when he hasn't produced any linebackers out of Penn State in 7 years.
Yeah, and I think that it's very easy to jump the gun on a lot of these coaches when you look at their history and what they bring to the table. I know with Coach Chaos, I'm not personally into college football, but just seeing some film on their defense, really looking at like Cam Brown, his players get to the quarterback, which we have not had in quite some time. I don't think Penn State through the years has had a horrible defense. I think they've had if not a really good defense, a good defense.
They haven't had a horrible defense, but they have not produced linebackers like they used to. And if you to go almost 7 years without having a linebacker drafted in the NFL, I don't sit there and get excited when the most recent one drafted is Cam Brown and go, oh, well, we brought this guy in and he's going to be – show me the pedigree. If you were so good at your job at Penn, and I'm not saying he's not going to be a good coach, but if you were so good at your job at Penn State, you would have had at least players. You would have taken your talent, and even if they got picked up in the 6th and 7th round, they still would have gotten picked up because the guy that got drafted before Cam Brown was another 7th round pick. So for some place that used to be linebacker you, I don't see you in the draft anywhere. And that's the problem. Because
Yeah.
yeah, if you get to the quarterback and you're successful, you're going to have the talent enough to even be a late round draft choice. They're not even really getting guys signed as, undrafted free agents. So that's what kind of, and I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying I think people need to temper their enthusiasm about certain coaches, because I think a lot of people don't look at the whole picture. They just look at the name and say, "Oh,
Yeah,
he's
they get
Captain
excited.
Chaos or whatever the hell he's called." It's gonna be great. So
Yeah, and I think some people and I can understand it. Some people will take what these coaches do in college and expect the same results in the
yes,
NFL. And that's not how it works all the time. It can work sometimes, but that's not how it works all the time. I'm not expecting whatever success that he had at Penn State to necessarily be the same. I hope it's, if not better, but I'm not fully expecting him, because college and the NFL are just so different. So different.
a little bit.
But we just really have to see. I would tell anybody, that is really excited for the coaching staff. I understand, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see how this team is going to do, because with COVID happening right now, with everything happening right now, them implementing a whole new system on the offense and defensive side, and they're not even able to practice it with each other.
And then they eliminated 2 preseason games.
Yeah, this team is going to be a little bit rusty. I hope that they aren't, but they're going to be, compared to a team that's had the same system and the same players for a couple of years. You look at, let's say, I don't really think much is going to change with Dallas. I think they're still going to be the same. Maybe pass the ball a little bit more, like they did last year, especially when you draft CD Lamb.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, with the new system, new coaching, it's gonna be a struggle. But we got to trust this process and to hope these coaches pan out to what we think that they could be. But you just got to pump the brakes.
Well, I agree. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. I'm sitting here with Brooklyn Hit Squad, and as always, Mr. Hit Squad, I am going to give you the last minute to wrap it up and talk about or say or whatever you want to for the next 60 seconds. Go.
Cool. Before we go, I actually wanted to get not only your opinion, but you guys can leave it in the comments down below. If you guys could pick one player on the defensive side that you believe is going to break out, what player is that going to be? Me personally, I have O'Shea Zimenez. So I will leave that to you really quickly. Thank you so much for having me on this show, Tim.
I always, you stole my thunder because I was going to say O'Shea Zimenez because I just like saying O'Shea Zimenez. But if I had to pick another player besides Zimenez, I am going Leonard Williams. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. I was just joking.
I was about to say.
I was just
Don't do
joking
that.
on that. You know what's interesting? I am actually going to go with Sam Beal. I think that Mr. Beal, who took 2 years basically to get on the field, played very limited action last year. I have a feeling that his talent is finally going to shine through if he has consistency at the corner position in reference to coaching, both on the position coach and on the defensive coach. I'm putting a lot on Mr. Graham, but I really think that he has the talent to, really excel in either the slot corner or an outside position. And like I said, I'm going to be very curious to see how he works through camp and how he works into the season.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I would say if not, I would definitely say Dalvin Tomlinson contract year.
Yeah, it's a contract. Yeah, but he's like, I don't really see him unless he's going to go to an all-pro level, because he's actually played really consistent the last 3 years. I mean, I'm a big Tomlinson fan, and like I said, I hope they I hope they take that Leonard Williams money and let him go next year. And
I believe they will.
About Leonard Williams, though, I'm going to close out the show after this. One thing about Leonard Williams, and we did a video on this. I said December 26, 2019, that I confirmed through two sources and Leonard's agent that he wanted Aaron Donald money, and he wanted $18 to $20 million later. I mean, $20 million a year. Then it comes out that he wants $18 to $20 million. And everyone's like, I forgot what ESPN guy broke it. I was like, I broke it back in December. I don't understand why this is all of a sudden news. Question to you, 18 to 20.
Try 10.
Thank you. Thank you. I
10 million.
figured the market for him is 8 to 10. And I had another source tell me that if he would not have signed his giant tender, he was maybe going to get $8,000 to $10,000 on the open market if he was lucky.
Yeah, 8 to 10 million is definitely his range for the production that he's given us. He wants Aaron Donald, Chris Jones money, and it's not there.
Not good.
It's not. I'd rather, you know what, if he's going to play the tag, let him play the tag. Use that money next year. Re-sign Dalvin Tomlinson. You'll get him for cheap compared to what Leonard Williams will be. Save some of that money because you got to worry about, in the future, Dexter Lawrence. You got different players. I'd rather retain the good players that we have as opposed to spending a lot of money in free agency.
Exactly. And we're going to wrap it up with that. And again, this is Tim with Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could like, if you could subscribe, if you could ring that bell, you know what that would mean? That would be awesome.